Yo, what's up internet? My name is Anthony and this is my 100th video. When I first started this YouTube channel, my goal was 100 videos and 100 subs. Now, after 100 videos, I don't know if I've gotten any better at making videos. Anyway, for my 100th video, I'm going to tell you guys my story of being a Raiders fan. Hope you guys enjoy. Really? This all started with my dad. My dad is a crazy Raiders fan, and when I was born, he made sure I was going to be a Raiders fan. One of the first pictures of me as a baby was with me with Raiders diapers and baby clothes. So the truth is, I was born into being a Raider fan before I even knew how to walk. Now, the first memory I have of watching football was maybe when I was 4. The only thing I really remember from it was early in the morning and my dad woke up to watch football and I sat next to him. I can't say for sure it was the Raiders, but I distinctly remember the introduction of the starting lineup with a pirate theme. It was a pirate ship with the lines and the team was wearing black. That is simply all I really remember. My guess is it was introducing the Raiders starting lineup, and I think it was, so I'm going to go with it. Now, the Raiders were good when I first got into them. Those were the days of Rich Gannon and Tim Brown leading the team to the playoffs with shots at a Super Bowl each year. One of the first games I went to was against the Chargers. The Raiders were down by multiple touchdowns with maybe 2 minutes to go. Somehow, the Raiders came back and won. That was the moment I realized just how exciting football was. It's one thing to watch an epic comeback on TV, but it feels entirely different to feel the energy in a stadium during an epic game. Believe it or not, in 2002 when the Raiders reached the Super Bowl, I went to both the divisional and conference playoff game. I actually kept the tickets knowing just how special that moment was. The seats weren't very good. They were very high up and the seats were pretty expensive. My family certainly isn't wealthy and the tickets were quite a commitment. I remember we could sell the tickets on eBay or somewhere at the time for an obscene amount of money. I want to say I could have sold the pair for about $500 each, but there's no way I was going to sell those seats. I was way too excited. Luckily, I did go because that was the last time the Raiders would be in the playoffs for a long time. Next came the tough part of being a Raiders fan. Season after season of double-digit losses came around along with terrible draft picks. Some would have called it stubborn, but I thought I was diehard. I was always looking forward to each season along with each draft pick, hoping this would be the season we turned things around. I even got a Jamarcus Russell knockoff jersey when he first got drafted, hoping he would be the key. Sadly, that was never the case, and he might be the biggest bust in NFL history. Even though they sucked, my dad and I still went to at least one game a season. One of the ones I remember was the season opener on Monday night against the Chargers. I was still in school then, and it was a school night, but luckily, my mom let me go, and it was a good game. Jamarcus Russell threw a pretty late touchdown for the Raiders to take the lead. Then, Philip Rivers drove the team down the field, and the Raiders lost like they always did back then. There was the Philly game where we had 6 sacks with Richard Seymour on the defensive line. Now, I know the Raiders won that game, but I just remember it being pretty boring. Our defense would hold, and the offense wouldn't do much, as usual. There were a lot of 3-and-outs and punts. It was nice that we won at the end of the day, but it didn't mean much, and it was pretty boring. The last game memory from the era we sucked I'll tell you about is when Brett Favre and the Jets came to town. It was still relatively early in the season, and I was as hopeful as ever. That was an epic game that came down to overtime. I remember sitting there watching as Janikowski kicked the game-winning field goal. This was the last memory I had of being at the game before I left for college, and what a game. There is nothing quite like the feeling of leaving the stadium with the victory. Now, those of you guys in the Bay Area will remember when the Niners were great with Harbaugh and the Raiders sucked. It was just a terrible feeling. We had family from San Francisco coming over, and we'd watch the Niner games. One moment I remember was it was Week 17 versus the Chargers, and Terrell Pryor was starting to finish off the season. There was really no reason to watch the game since there were no playoff implications. But I kept on insisting on watching it, and it bugged my Niner family. I don't remember the outcome, but it was a good time seeing them get annoyed. Really petty on my end, but it was well worth it. When I had to leave home for college, that was when I really doubled down on my fandom. I moved, and there were fans from all over, and the Raiders were absolutely terrible. They would make fun of my team, but there was no way I was going to miss a game on Sunday. The biggest moment was in 2014. You guys know what I'm talking about. The team was 0-10 and playing the Chiefs on Thursday night. Class had ended early, and I kept telling my roommate we needed to go. They were all saying the Raiders were going to lose anyway, but there was no way I was going to miss it. I rushed home and watched what turned out to be the beginning of our turnaround. Derek Carr had engineered the first comeback/game-winning touchdown of his career, and that was the moment I looked at Carr and knew he could be something special. Remember when the Niners were good and the Raiders sucked? Now, you remember the Niners at 7-5 taking on the Raiders at 1-11. I didn't care that this would affect our draft position. I didn't care that we were 1-11. I had this game circled. As soon as we got our first win, The only other game that mattered was this one. This was our Super Bowl that year. After years of having to watch the Niners win, this was our chance to get some bragging rights. The Niners were in the thick of the playoff race, and when Seawood had the game-sealing interception, I was ecstatic. The best part was, that was the dagger ending the Niners' Jim Harbaugh run and continuing the Raiders' steady climb. I could go on and on about the memories, but those are the highlights, and everything after the Niners game is just too recent. The Raiders had gone from laughingstock to respectable to playoff team. The Raiders' success truly means a lot to me. I'm not one to brag, but the Raider games are the things I look forward to most every season. That was true when they were 4-12, and it's still true when they're 12-4. From a young age, I was hooked on the silver and black. All the way from when they were terrible to their recent ascent. The Raiders are in my blood. I've been as diehard as they come, and they'll always be my team. And there you guys have it, my 100th video and my Raiders story. Thank you for everyone who's watched this video and have been with me so far. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching, everyone.